Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mentorship Mondays with Michelle and Maren. We're so happy to see all of you guys here. And Maren, I'm so happy to be here with you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm happy to be here with you too. I'm doing really good. Um, still reeling over last week's episode. That
Yeah,
was
it was wild.
insane. I know we posted an unedited, yeah, I guess it would be unedited with the background noise
Yeah,
still in it. And I don't
yeah.
even think that was at its worst, like that like siren-y
No,
background sound. It
it
was
it doesn't do it justice, does it? Like,
it was like there were
mm,
times where I felt like I was like out on the tarmac of like, with airplanes around you like that. That loud
yes,
engine sound or like a siren like in
yeah,
the middle of a tornado. I just was like, "What? What's going on?" I don't think I like said very much because I think the whole time I was just like working so hard to listen.
yes. It really challenged our because Reagan had such good information, like her story was so compelling and
Amazing. I hope it didn't ruin her
amazing.
story because her story
Yeah,
was really
it
inspirational
it
and
was great. And we will have Reagan with us again. Hopefully
okay,
she
good.
will come and see us
Yeah. Oh,
again.
she'll come back.
And
We
yes,
became besties through that experience because we were all like, what
yeah,
do we do?
yeah,
It was
that was
wild.
it was truly funny. But wild, yeah, because the voices, the sounds, because we did hear. So when we were
Yeah.
in real time listening, we did hear, and we were so curious, like, what are we going to hear back? And some of you guys listening, I can't remember who called it out, but somebody did a timestamp
Several did.
for
Yeah.
us. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So we were able to really capture a male voice.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and I think I know who it is too. So I'm super excited to tell you guys because
Okay.
that was just wild. And I have to say too, when I was editing it, um, I don't know if it was when I was editing it, I was listening to it and I was like, you know what this sounds like? This sounds like Michelle's little voice recorder thing. Your I don't know what that's called, but that
Oh,
records the
the
spirit voices.
oh
What's it called?
yes, yeah, yeah. The my spirit box, my spirit
Spirit.
box.
Okay, that's too
Yeah.
easy. I thought it was going to be something like Ghostbusters, like the EVP 17 or
Well,
something.
it is. I can't. It's actually not even here. It's upstairs. It's
Okay.
upstairs, but I can't remember exactly what it's called.
Okay.
But it's an EVP voice recorder. Um. Anyway, yeah, I can't remember
Okay.
the name.
Okay. Because of like that static sound, I was
Yeah,
like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, this really sounds like that voice recorder. And then, like, lo and behold, we caught a voice. So a whole sentence, not even just like a
yeah,
little phrase or whisper. We caught the whole sentence. So we
yeah.
put it up on our Instagram page and the shorts page of the Mentorship Mondays YouTube page. So check it out
Mhm,
if you want to hear it. It's pretty incredible.
mhm.
Um, Honestly, like I feel like it was even better than the Spirit Box one.
Yeah, it
The
was.
Spirit Box was cool
Yeah,
because we got like consistent interaction and like a like
yeah,
conversational exchange, but there was
yeah,
only like one or two words at most that exchanged
yeah,
with us. And this
yeah,
one was a whole sentence that I really feel like, because I put that whole clip in, because I really feel like that sound was actually talking about what we were talking about. Because you were teaching
yes,
about well, and right before that was when Reagan did the prayer, which is just beautiful. I still need to write
yeah,
that down. Where she did the prayer and then taught about kind of like that heart-centered breathing. And then you went into like how it's like little pieces and how they build on each other. And then he was like, that's what I was taught. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
so
So who
crazy.
do you think that
Okay.
is? Like what? Because I know you've got some. I'm curious because I know that you were saving
Okay.
some details for
Yes.
us.
So some things happened during editing that where I'm like, okay, I know who this is. And the night before. So so interesting than, me and my dreams. I'm always having these dreams. And so the night before I had this dream, or it might have even been the day before that, because I remember there was things that happened after the dream. So it was the day before. So it would have been Friday night. I woke up to this dream where I was playing in this honestly, this red brick mansion. I was playing in this red brick mansion, but I was out in the backyard with these kids, and kids of all ages, like from toddler to teenager. And we're all in the back and we're hanging out. And then I remember like going to the front door, and someone was at the front door, and it was just like more kids. And then we were in the back. I never went through the house. It's just kind of like, you appear and you appear. But I'm with these kids, and I just know the exterior is red brick. And then all of a sudden, this man calls me down to like this drainage tunnel. Um, that's all I can really say is like a drainage tunnel, but it had the red brick was over it. So it's kind of like an arc. And we're kind of like
Right.
in this red brick arch.
Yep.
Um, and he was this really skinny man. He was very petite. He was kind of reminded me of maybe like a little Italian guy, or like the little like jockeys on horses. Like he was just like really
Yeah.
petite,
Yeah.
really thin face, dark
Mm-hmm.
hair. And he looked right at me, but and telepathically he said, "I was here once." And his mouth didn't move. And I just remember thinking like, wow, he's talking to me and his mouth isn't moving.
Mm.
And then I kind of looked at him like, what do you mean? I'm, so confused. So I was just over here
Mm-hmm.
playing with these kids. And
Mm-hmm.
then he like showed me this wall, and it had like pictures on it of like the building, and like I could see like beams and things. So like I felt like it was like
Mm-hmm.
building construction of something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still kind of confused. And then like as I kept turning my gaze, I'm like looking out back into the backyard again, and there is a man, and he's got white hair, and he's obviously taller than this little man. And so it's just like average build, but older man, silver hair, and he's bending down. He's wearing a sweater, and he's bending down, like bending over, talking to the kids. And some kids had like gone up to him, and
Mm-hmm.
the man that was in the tunnel with me goes, "Oh, that's the star. He's the star." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then he went away, and I went back to playing with the kids, and I woke up. And I just remember thinking, God, was that a spirit dream? Like it's, like and I was like, I think it was a spirit dream, because like I was in a dream and I was doing my thing, and then this guy took me off, and then he didn't move his mouth. I was like, I don't think I've ever had a dream where I'm talking to someone and they didn't move their mouth. So that must have been like a spirit dream. And so I was folding laundry, and I was thinking about it all morning, and I was like, gosh, that's so weird. And what he said was so weird. Like I was here once. And because it was just kind of like different than I would normally say it. Like I might have been
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, I've been here
Yeah.
before," like, but that
Yeah.
I was here once. And just it was just so odd. And I kept repeating it over and over and over again. And then I went into my bathroom, and I have like a little vanity chair that has like the little like nail head studs on it, like little
Yep.
studs, sort of studs around
Yep.
the trim. And but I walked past it, and one of the nails studs had come out of the chair, and it looks like a very old, like I don't know if you've ever seen like a stud, but the
Yep.
nail part of the stud looks like a super old nail, like a probably
Yep.
because that's the type of nails they had back
Yeah.
then. I don't
Yeah.
know, but and I was like, well, that's really weird that just fell out of my chair, and I was like, wow, it looks like a really old nail, and I was like, I bet you anything this is confirmation that that guy was part of that dream. Like this has got to be from him. And so I was like, oh my God, that's really cool. Right. So I just put it behind me. I didn't really think anything of it. And there's an orb right there. I didn't really think anything about it. And then I know okay. Like, who are you? Are you that guy in the tunnel? Because still don't know who the guy in the tunnel is. Um, I know. I've just heard like you have to research the school. I'm like, I'm It's on my to-do list. So, anyways, so I just put it behind me, went about, we're talking with Reagan, and she's talking about the school, and really we were talking about, this was after the episode. We were talking about, or after we finished recording,
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about the burning
Mm-hmm.
man, the
Yep.
fire,
Yep.
and that whatever reason that made me think of the man in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I was like, Reagan, does your school have red brick? And she was like, yeah, it was a red brick mansion. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because I just started thinking about the fact that I was like playing with all these random kids, And
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
just made me, so I was like, I think I had a dream at your school. And I don't know if we couldn't figure out who the man in the tunnel was, but she said the white-haired man sounds like the man who kind of invented the school. He's a famous psychologist. And so, like, the fact that he's a star, he's a famous psychologist and he invented the school. And I was like, okay, like that, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like dropped it. And I didn't really like investigate anymore. But then I was editing the recording. And you know how like sometimes I'll see them like when I close my eyes, like when I just blink, and I blinked and I saw him, and maybe I yawned and stretched and it was a little bit longer of a blink, but I saw him and he looked right at me and had this like warm smile, like helping me out, and like it was all good feelings, like proud of what we're doing. He's helping me out, almost like even like a wink, like I got something for you, or something's gonna, like something special is gonna happen. Or it was a really interesting like exchange. And then I felt him all over my, like literally it was like kunk, 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 like on my right side. And I was like, well, that was real. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, but it's the same. He has silver hair, or not silver hair, excuse me, white hair,
Yeah.
and glasses. And I couldn't see his glasses before because his back was to me when the man pointed him out. But this time he looked right at me and he had glasses. And so I emailed Reagan and I was like, oh my gosh, who is the director of the school? Who was that man? I need to see a picture of him. And she showed me a picture and I was like, it's him. That was him. So his name is Maxwell Maltz. And excuse me, I'm going to see if I have a photo of him just in case you guys want to see.
Yeah.
Here he is. Sorry, my
Oh, interesting.
my ring is giving a, there he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
There he
Yep.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Silver hair, glasses. And it's really interesting too that he's actually even bending over talking to a kid and he's wearing a
Yeah.
sweater. I didn't even notice that. So how crazy
Yeah.
is that?
Mm-hmm.
And then so then I Googled him and I was like, I wonder if I could hear him talk. I wonder if he sounds like the guy on the recording. And what's so interesting is that I found him and he was talking all about spiritual concepts. And not only was he talking about spiritual concepts, but he was talking about spiritual concepts that I had been listening to and learning about all week through Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I was like, oh my goodness. So he is definitely around. I think he loves the messages that probably
Yes.
he would say his star student is passing along.
That's so
And so
awesome. The
isn't that super
synchronicity.
cool? The
The synchronicity.
synchronicities. I know.
That's
So
the
everyone,
best.
that is Maxwell Maltz. I think he wants to be known. Maxwell Maltz came to visit us. And check him out. Check out his talks.
He's got some stuff on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
some videos on YouTube that everybody
Yeah.
can look up. And
Mm-hmm.
how fascinating, isn't it amazing when we like just to see how the threads that weave of synchronicity, and when messages come out, they come out in so many different ways. And Regan was like weaving a basket of information without even knowing it, of what you were bringing forward. And it's so incredible. Like it blows my mind every time how cared for we are, how
Mm-hmm.
supported we are, and just that excitement of following those hunches, because it's not always something that, oh, I know exactly what this means. Sometimes we do, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I wonder if, or I wonder, it's following that curiosity, that bit of curiosity, and then lo and behold, look what you found.
I
And
know.
that is just awesome. I
Isn't
love
that
that.
cool? I know it is so cool. Um,
Yeah.
Also a follow-up. I will say, I know we were wondering who it was that followed me, or that was in, oh no, I meditated and saw them. When I was learning about the light
Yes.
frequency, that was Sir Isaac Newton. It was because
So,
I found some more photos of him and I was like, oh my gosh, like dead ringer, Sir Isaac Newton, the office, the table that I saw, like or the desk that I saw in front of the window is exactly the way his is. Um, I even saw like I thought I saw I didn't see the wig on him, but like I thought I saw a wig in the corner. And then obviously he had I was like, did Sir Isaac Newton have a wig? Or did he just have really long curly hair? And nope, it's a wig. So
well,
so it was definitely him. So thank you, everyone.
yes. There's so much happening right now, just as you said that, because I know Tesla was in my mind when you were talking about that through that session, and so this just sparked in my head. Have you seen the recent discovery? It does make sense with Tesla eventually. The recent discovery of what the sonograph technology has seen under the Pyramid of Giza?
No.
Okay, so here's a little homework, because we will maybe we could do a channeling for next week, and Maren, see what um do a little meditation and do a channeling to see what you can get on this, and we can
Okay.
bring forward some information. Maybe Tesla can come in and tell us some things, because on March 16th, last Sunday, there was a scheduled announcement revealing some information of what was seen with sonography, I think it is. So it's like imaging, being able to go below the surface of the earth using sound
Right.
vibration
Yeah. Sonar.
to
Yeah.
see, yeah, to see the imaging. Well, what they see under the Pyramid of Giza is these columns, and I can't remember how many feet they go down, but they are long, and there's several of them. I think four. I could be wrong. I haven't done a lot of reading on it. I just had a little bit of a hit on it when something came up, and both my husband and I were like, "Oh my God!" And there's there's some sort of a cavity or box, and then these long tubes like structures that have some sort of a walkway or something around it. But here's the amazing thing. So last year, and actually the last 2 years, um, in several different channelings from different sources, and when I did QHHT, there was some talking that came through. I can't remember if it was my higher self or a being that came through and spoke, but talked about there being the year of 2025, 2026, and 2027 was going to bring out some fascinating information that was going to rewrite our history. And it was directed in the area of Egypt, of there being information being found. So the first thing that popped in my head, and why I mentioned Tesla, why that just popped in my head, was Tesla talking about the free energy, and talking about frequency and vibration and how to use energy. And from what many of us have gathered through many sources of channeling and research, is the pyramids being a technology to
Yeah.
source energy, right? So I am so excited and so curious to know what this actually is going to unfold, because it tells us that the published science that has written our history over many years has talked about what has been seen and built on the top of the structure. But this would reveal that there is so much more. And is there a civilization or a history that is going to be revealed, because it changes all of the theories and studies of the information that was taken from seeing a pyramid structure as it was, or as it is on the
Wow.
surface. So,
Wow.
what does this mean for our history? And so, to line up with what many channelings have said about our history being rewritten, and I think we can see that in so many different forms with what we're seeing in the world. You know, we can see that history is right now, in this moment, that every single one of us are here living and breathing on this earth. We are living through a time that is going to change future generations. And
Wow.
this is something that has come through many of us through channeling many times, talking about how our souls were excited to be here at this time because we are participating in a great change. So this is I think we should have a conversation about it with maybe a little more, do some research and see what we can come up with, and maybe see what spirit can add to it, or what information we can gather from that too.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
Um, I'm super interested in the pyramids. I think they're fascinating. Um, I've recalled a past life in ancient Egypt, so that would be really neat. Um, I have a friend that also has remembered a past life in ancient Egypt. And they remember, because it's interesting you're talking about underground. I don't know anything about this, but he
Mm-hmm.
says he remembers like being underground, like, and he felt like he was a slave or something, but he lived underground and he could like look up and see people walking above him. So I don't know if that's a known fact or if that's something that's like yet to be discovered, but I feel like that's really interesting too.
Well, there have been channelings over the years, and actually I'm looking up at that book that Sarah Bressman did with the QHHT, and I can't
Yeah.
remember if this came through with her or if it came through in another way, but they were showing me that there was structures underneath with water. There was something to do
Wow.
with water. And they were showing me that there was civilization. And of course, we have to remember that when we're channeling and bringing through information, the information is oftentimes corresponded with what our understanding is,
Yeah.
right? So we may see something that we don't have the perfect reference to, so we have to be open and understanding that, try not to fill in those blanks as
Hmm.
to what it is, but that we may be shown something that our mind says, oh, this is inside the pyramid, or oh, this is, and not really know exactly what that is. But what I remember and what I'm seeing right now was there was a rectangular, it looked like a pool, like a rectangular piece. And it just triggered me when you said slaves, because there were um, people that were in uniform looking white, they looked like skirts, or like white, but they had like cloth up through the center, like almost like, I don't know, some kind of covering. And I was seeing men, and with no hair, and I could see them like they were clearing debris from this water. So what exactly that is, I don't know. But I
That's so
remember in that
interesting.
channeling that it was talking about water source below the earth's surface, underneath the structure, and it had to do with vibration. it had to do with sound, vibration, and healing.
So that's I was just listening to a podcast that had I had just had to look it up. Billy Carson.
Mm,
He's like the go-to person when it comes to ancient civilizations and astronomy and
mm,
like ancient aliens, and he's like super super intelligible. Anyways, he was saying the same thing. He said that he believes that there was water underneath the pyramid and that that was like the source of the energy, but as the Nile River, um I don't know what you would call it, like dried up,
yeah.
receded, that then there was no longer water under there and the pyramid didn't work. But
Mm.
that's what the pyramid was for. And so yeah, so he, I mean, I don't know where he's getting his information, but he feels like there is water under the, or was at one time, water under the pyramid, and that's what helped make it a power source.
Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of like a lot of research and like with new information, and I feel validation of maybe a lot of ideas, whether it's Billy Carson or whomever, ideas that have been not not been able to be proven, but known.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep getting Toth, the Atlantean.
Oh, yeah, and he knows all about Toth. He knows all
Okay,
about him. Yeah,
because that's the energy that's coming forward
yeah,
as like there being a revelation. Like this is
yeah,
much to be revealed, and it's his
yeah.
energy that is right straight through this. So
Wow, that is
yeah,
so cool. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He like he has like read all the ancient texts and everything and like
Mm.
puts it all together, and so he has
It's
talked
so
about
fascinating.
Toth
So
before. Yeah.
fascinating. It's this truly is the most fascinating time.
Oh, I
Like
know. It's so fun.
it is beyond anything I ever could have imagined.
I
You
know.
know, the information that is around us and what's expanding. And I don't know, like can you imagine, like I just think like 10 years ago couldn't have imagined half the things that we're experiencing now. And what's the next 10 years going to bring?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
how exciting is it to imagine the possibilities and really the excitement of our consciousness and to see where we are headed with our consciousness. Like it's this is the stuff that really gets me excited. I love learning about and experimenting in my own life.
Did you hear too, like Google AI proved that there's like an alternate reality or
No,
alternate
I didn't.
dimensions or something like
No,
that?
no,
Yeah. Like
no.
somehow the supercomputer, I don't know, proved there's an alternate universe. I'm just like blown away. Like how did it do that? So yeah, with the improvements in AI and the supercomputing, we're gonna discover a lot.
Yes, I truly do feel that. And there's been so how do I say this without sounding completely crazy? But I mean,
What?
I think I've already done that. I think I've already let that card go a while ago, so what the heck? But I get a lot of these it's like I'm following this puzzle of my own in so many ways, and what keeps coming forward is this understanding the soul through the eyes. And we've
Oh,
talked about this before, right? We have had
yes.
this conversation.
Yeah.
For this just triggered this little thought in me, but there's something about the pupil and black holes dimensions. And I don't know how to frame this conversation right
I
now
don't know, but I
because
just got goosebumps all over the
yeah,
second you said that.
there's something to this, and I've had a lot of very interesting little revelations or validations of studying the power of our eyes, the structure of our eyes, and relating that to how the universe is structured with dimensions, and there being a correlation, like the cornea, a correlation to the two.
Huh.
So, no, I just thought I'd put that out there. There's going to be a lot of advancement when it comes to our science and unfolding ideas to help connect to even things that were maybe thought of as sci-fi and mythology, to help make sense of our multidimensionality, because we are not one, as in we are not one truth, one thing, one thought.
Yeah.
We are so much more than that. And as our consciousness expands and our technology has the ability to work with us, because it's all in the intent of how we use it, it has the ability to unfold our reality and our understanding of the realities that we truly do exist within. And if we think about the very short time, really, that has passed and what has unfolded, what is the potential? What is truly the potential of the time that we're in? And what we are experiencing right now in this moment, because right now in this moment is a time that many of us have felt for years, and we are in that time right now. We are experiencing this right now. So the potentials are endless. They truly are. Like, this is the most exciting time. And I was saying to you, Maren, before we got on, more than one thing can be true at one time,
Yeah.
as we know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't discount the fact that many of us are experiencing challenges, and as we grow, our challenges may change. The things that we work through may change, because the truth is, being in a physical body, living here on life, the more that we expand our consciousness, the more that we understand that there is such a broad way of experiencing the world. And our perspective is our power. Our perspective is a choice. And we may not be able to control many things that are existing in our reality, that are happening around us. And I say this because of a couple things. One is, I had an experience with somebody this week whose son is in spirit, and she's writing with him, and she wanted to ask some questions about I think the question was, what is the most important thing that you feel that when you transition into spirit, or when you leave the physical body, what is something that you reflect on that would have been helpful to know? What would be helpful to tell people? And what would help bring you closer to God's love, to Source, and existing in that peace? And he said one simple word. He said judgment. Understanding judgment. He said that there is such power in our perspective and in our belief. And we think that what it is that we believe is the absolute truth, or is the way things are in that moment. And for us, in that moment, it is. Because that's where our belief is. but that may be as far as our awareness is able to go in that moment. And so what it is that we believe, or the judgments that we have, they will be backed up when we understand universal laws and we understand how things truly work. When we believe something, we will start to see the evidence reflected in our experience everywhere. And for thousands upon thousands of years, this on earth has been the old age conundrum of what I believe is right, what you believe is wrong. What
Mm-hmm.
I perceive of you is right the way I see it. The way you perceive it is wrong.
Did you know they did a study and 50% of the stories that we tell ourselves are actually false? So your beliefs, 50% of what you believe is like happening real life the way it occurred is wrong. And so to put a judgment out there is going to, 50%. First of all, you shouldn't judge, but if you are, 50% of them are going to be wrong. It's not the truth. So we have
Well,
to be so careful.
and isn't a belief in itself, okay? So um I look at what I understood as a belief at one time. A belief was like, this is who I am. So there was a time
Yeah.
that I would walk and say, this is what I believe, this is my
Right.
opinion, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And that kept me, and this is coming from the perspective I have today, that kept me in a structure,
A box. Yeah.
a box. It kept me in that box. So it was challenging for me to see outside of that, even
Yeah.
though I had an awareness in the back of me that there were things outside of that. But what I believe about that today is this: my belief is my experience in understanding, my awareness of where it is in this moment.
Say it
That
again.
is
My
what
belief is
my belief,
expanding.
my belief is my experience, my understanding and awareness of this moment.
Okay, I
It is
like that.
in my experience, it is in my awareness, it is in my understanding that I have in this moment.
I like that.
What I know is true is that my beliefs have the ability to be flexible. Because the only thing that I can be truly certain on is where I am and what I think and why I do in this moment. Because I, and trust me on this one, the more that we experience with openness, the more that we understand that there is so much out there that we don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, that's why I like that you say it's your truth that's within your awareness, because that shows there might be more out there that you're not aware of, or a different perspective you haven't seen or heard, or
Yeah.
and not just like within judging others, but within others' perception of you, even of who you can be and who you can become. So it's such a
Yes.
double-sided, I want to say sword, but it's like more complex than that. It's so, you need to not have judgments limit you because they're based on beliefs that you feel are fixed. And no belief
Yes.
is fixed because there's so much
Yes.
without outside of your awareness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just in reflecting on that for myself, you know, um, I went from being a person that was sharing everything in my life with everybody because my belief in retrospect was that if I'm being I'm sharing everything, I'm telling everything, then I'm not hiding anything. But and to me that felt like the right thing to do, but I was really looking for validation of what I believed about
Mm,
myself because I didn't believe in myself, because I didn't believe in what I was capable of, and I was restricting myself Because when I would step outside of my own boxes, I would feel like I was being violated. I would feel like, well, that's not possible for me. Or when I speak of these things that I feel in my heart, they're they're impossible. They're dreams, they're imagination, they're things that aren't real. And
Hmm.
as I'm saying that, many times, you need to be in the real world, Michelle. You need to be in the real world. And what is the
Hmm.
real world?
Yeah.
What is that? Right?
Yeah.
So, um, you know, I had to I had to really start to close myself down to be able to regenerate. And that has been something I've done for a very long time in small bits. So whenever there would be something that it was like, I know that what I'm hearing, and it's not that people on the outside of you have ill intention. Some do, but most times people are, again, they're telling you your truth or what your truth should be based on the
Yeah.
awareness and the experience and the perception that they have.
Yeah.
And so as you're expanding that, it's important to learn and like myself and many others that have done this, to be able to spend that time with yourself to unwind and undo and to heal and to really look at what is true for me right now, what is not, what do I need to rake, to clear, to let go of so that I can feel myself. What do I feel like? What do I really like? What things have I told myself that I like or that I am for a very long time that isn't even true? And that process is really, it's a lifelong process, but the core of it, when we have been living in other ideas of who we are, that is the pulling apart of our own judgments that we have on ourselves. And that's some very deep work,
Yeah.
but that's freedom too. And it doesn't have to be I have to do all this and go inside and shut everybody out of my world. It's being willing to ask ourselves questions, being willing to go on. And sometimes that means we do have to step away from others. But the benefit of that is when we're able to give ourselves that compassion, that peace, that understanding to say it's okay that I do that. When we come back out, we're able to be open enough to listen to others because there's value in everybody's experience. There's value in everybody's beliefs and perspectives. And we don't have to be the same or agree or take that as ours. But can we be open enough to listen? Can we be open enough to hear? And maybe there's a few nuggets in there for us that we'll be able to take and then ask some more questions and have a little more discovery. Because that's the beauty about all of us being different perspectives and beliefs and our consciousness being in different places. And so just to go back to what this young man in spirit shared was, he said, if you want to see where your judgment is in your life, take some time to have the awareness of where your thoughts go, because many of us as human beings have the belief and the politeness in society that says, if I don't say anything, so what's the one thing we've heard? If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Right?
Yeah.
So I keep my mouth shut. I'm thinking these things, but I'm not saying them out loud because I don't want to hurt somebody. I don't want to say something to make somebody feel bad. So I'm going to think them. I'm going to keep my mouth closed. And therefore, I'm not judging them. Well, when we do that, it's really not that I'm judging them, it's judgment. It's the energy of judgment, whether it's judgment of yourself or to a situation or to a person. The energy of judgment is what creates a wall of separation. And so when we think about the expansiveness of God, Source's love, we think about that energy, it is judgment, that vibration, that wall that creates that box, that closed in space. So if you want to see where your awareness is, play a little game with yourself throughout the day and observe what thoughts are coming up when you are looking out the window and you're sitting in traffic and you see somebody
Yeah.
walk across. Are you making an assumption quickly about who that person is, where they're from, what they're doing? These things happen so easily, and it's not something to call out anybody as you're bad, you're wrong for these judgments. It's an exercise to have the opportunity to see how easily we can
It
judge.
happens. It happens so fast.
It
You're
does.
so
It
right.
does.
And I encourage you too. So when you're doing that and you catch yourself in the judgment, the opposite of that is divine love that we learned about last week. So put a little, I like my visual is like a little laser gun of light beams, like catch yourself making the judgment and then just be like, oh, sorry, here's a divine light and love. I'm sorry, try to
A neutralize. That's like your neutralizing gun. The beam of light, a little
yeah,
neutralizer. And
yeah.
and that, because the one thing, and well, I'd spoken about this with you, Maren, is sometimes we're going to see things, behaviors, actions, situations that we don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
that that we put ourselves in a position, well, if that were me, I would do it this way, or we make
Mm-hmm.
presumptions. And we have to ask ourselves, why do we believe that, one, and why do we need to be right on that? Why
Mm-hmm.
is it so important to us that
And
that
why
is
is it
something we,
bothering me?
right? Why is it? Because half the time it's none of our business in the
Mm-hmm.
first place, and we need to bring it back to our own lives
Mm-hmm.
and what we're doing. Because it really will show each and every one of us when we do these exercises how much attention we spend putting our focus on others and not on ourselves. And really, is it a good focus? Like, are we using our energy to the best of our ability? Because when we bring it back to ourselves with compassion, then we're able to expand our understanding. And how synchronicity works is when there's something we don't understand and we're doing it with love, with compassion, we're going to experience people, places, things, lessons that bring that understanding to us to help us expand, to help us grow, and to see things in love, not in a harsh
Yeah.
light of judgment.
And I can't even tell you how strong energy is, how like beeline of a connection energy is. So, like when you make a judgment, it does beeline that judgmental energy out to that person. But if you can repair their little laser repair gun, light beam, um, it really, you guys, I can't tell you how many times this week I have been shocked at the efficiency of energy and like that, like even like, I'm learning about the light spectrum and then boom, somehow I got Isaac Newton from however many years ago, and then boom, we're learning about, going to talk to this lady and then the school, because I was really fascinated by the school too when she said that. So I
Yeah,
was really interested in the school, but it was in my subconscious, definitely wasn't in my consciousness about that school. And then the school guy's there. And then I was talking with a student this week and she comes from a big family and she just had a little sister born. And I was like, oh, how's your little sister? And she's like, she's good. How many are in your family again? And right when I asked it, I saw two little orbs. And she said, well, if you don't count my two siblings that died, there's 8 of us. And I was like, oh my gosh, it just like, boom, that energy is there. And then I was talking to some coworkers about, we had a really tragic accident in our town. And we were talking about the accident. A boy died in the accident. We were talking about the accident um, and then and the boy and his service is coming up, and then boom, there's an orb. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's an orb. And they're like, who is it? And I was like, well, who else would it be? We're talking about him, like it just literally, it's so fat, like that connection, that line, it's so real. That's what blows me away, is how real these energetic
Yes.
connections are. It's
Yes.
unbelievable.
Yes. And
So
and that's the consistency of that openness and that trust and the patience and the faith of working with it. And
mhm.
it quickens the strength of it, which has always
Yeah,
been there. It's
yeah.
always been there. It's the perception, the
Hmm.
expansion of our consciousness and of our own energy field to be able to see those things and to realize it.
Yeah.
Um, what I just heard in my head when you said the energy repair. Okay, so I just heard free for everybody. All you have to do is say yes. Energy repair kits are free.
Oh,
So everybody is getting a free energy repair kit right now. We're handing
it's
them out.
yours.
All you have to do is say yes. It's
Yeah.
yours.
That's
Carry it
right.
with you this week and use it an unlimited amount of times for yourself, for
Oh my God,
those you love, and anyone else you feel needs it.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. And it will
that's awesome.
seriously work. It's unbelievable.
Yes, it will.
So,
It will.
yeah.
And let us know. Let us know what experiences you had with your energy repair kit. So we're handing out each one right now. So just say thank you,
Okay.
grab it, put it in your heart.
Okay. I love it. Well, I'll have stories to tell you next week about
Yeah,
about it.
definitely. Definitely.
So,
And do a little bit of research with the pyramids. We'll bring that back up and
okay.
we'll talk about it and see what you discover.
I also have to say this too, some more homework. Um, Mr. Beast, my kids are huge Mr. Beast fans. Do you guys watch Mr. Beast?
I
Okay.
know who Mr. Beast is from my own kids. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Um, he got to go into the pyramids, and he got to do like a full tour of the pyramids and go to all these places that only like a handful of people have been to, and they let him videotape it all.
Hmm.
And so check it out. It's only like a maybe
I
20
will.
minute
I
episode.
will. I will.
But they were like, so they take him all the way up to the top, the very, very top of the pyramid. And they were like, only a handful of people have been here. And the guy goes, people think that aliens built these pyramids, but look, the people that built it signed their names right here. And he's got like the signature, like the names of the people that signed it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not buying that. Like, I think that if you wore the signature, like the person that built this pyramid, I think it'd be a little bit bigger than just in the corner at the top. That looks like some graffiti, like, hey, I made it to the top of this pyramid and I'm going to sign my name. But he did say in um whatever Egypt, whatever language that is, that it did say, so and so built this. But it's like, I don't know, maybe he built the stairs. Maybe he built this pathway that went to this other thing, or something that was secondhand. I'm not buying that is the builder of the
Yeah.
pyramid, or the architect
My
of
my
whatever.
understanding, and this is where I'm at with this, is that um it's combination that it's got ET technology with sound and frequency and vibration with the building. And of course, I do feel that there was human involvement with the building as well, but it is um,
Well,
there is a huge ET influence with them.
yeah, I just feel like, I mean, even if there's not ET influence, I feel like we had ancient technology. And I know
Yes.
Sarah Bresman talked about this too, where like the Atlanteans, when that fell, they kind of went over into Egypt. And so that part of Egypt was Atlantis or something. And
Yeah.
so I just feel like there was just ancient technology,
Yes.
probably influenced by
Yes.
aliens, but with or without aliens, I just feel like there was ancient technology, and that is an ancient technology
Yes. I
feature
agree. I
of
agree.
our planet. Yeah.
Sound vibration. Sound and vibration is what comes forward with me,
Yeah.
when I think about that. So it'll be really fascinating to see what all unfolds over
Yeah.
these next couple years, because I think we're going to have a lot of um, new discoveries that are going to raise more questions and start to help us all look at things with a little different light, and to help also ground some of the channeled information that comes through and be able to give it some resonance, some substance.
Cool. I'm
Yeah,
excited. Well,
me too.
okay, so the announcement has come out or it hasn't? It
It did.
did?
I think there's more to come, but March 16th there was a press conference. There was
Okay.
something that gave some information,
Got
and
it.
so that would be good to check that out and see. I haven't watched it. I just heard about it, and I've seen a diagram with a
Okay.
a couple pictures. So um,
Okay.
I haven't seen anything else, but I will check it out as well and just kind
Okay.
of see what is said. And yeah, we'll see, because I think you'll get some interesting information, because I can feel all of these
Yeah,
layers
it's
of.
coming this week. Ah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Well, hey,
this is a good one. Good
I gotta
conversation.
get you.
Yep. Send
Do
receipt. Yeah.
it. Do it.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Here's
right.
to everyone. Pew,
Okay.
pew, pew, pew,
Yeah.
pew, everyone.
Sending you a little energy repair. Pew
That's
pew.
right. Love and
Yeah.
light for the week for
Love and
you
light.
guys.
That's right. Okay.
All
Have a great
right.
week, everybody. Okay.
We will see you next week.
See you later.